So I'm very goals driven. I think it's important to know that goals are super important, but what's even more important than that is the mission. What's the overall mission? Where you're trying to go, and then you create goals within that mission, right? So there's a lot of talk out about goal. Like don't have goals aren't that important. Goals aren't that people, and then you got these other people like, oh, goals, it's all about goals.
The smart thing, right? When you create
Right.
the goals, yeah.
Right. And it's almost like like in Christian faith, there's the works versus faith,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, there's this and then there's this, and you got your people divided, and it's like, well, it depends on where you are, right? If you're more in the works, then you need to where's your faith? And then if you're more in the faith, where's your works? It's both. It's goals and mission. It's like, what's your mission? Where are you trying to go? And then have goals within that. Because if you don't have that and you just have goals, all you have is a checklist.
Yeah.
You still may not end up anywhere. You completed those goals, but where'd you really get? So I think that's important. I really wanted to make that clear that, if you hear a lot about goals, cool, but what's the mission, right? If you hear about mission, no goals, well, okay, so you know where you want to go, but how are you going to measure how you get there? Goals.
That's a great segue or related to the to Roger Kitchen Jr. I don't know if you've met him yet. Power Mental Performance.
No, I haven't.
I just put out a clip 2 days ago. I've had him on. I had him on. I'm gonna have him back on next month. But he's talking about process-driven results or the process mindset and the results mindset. And so he's a power lifter.
Yeah.
And he's now has a business where he goes and he's helping athletes with the mental side of performance.
Right.
Right. The controllables and uncontrollables.
Right.
We even talked like, you lift weights.
Yes.
If you were to compete in that, I was asking him like, because I was having a hard time wrapping my head around like the uncontrollables.
Right.
He's like, well, you might go to a gym that, you're used to a certain setup and the setup's just different. The equipment's different.
Right.
It's more humid. It might be at a higher altitude.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
There's all these things you can't control. So
Right.
then it's learning how to like block that out or not have that affect you, and you focus on what you can control.
That's right.
But he was talking about it's 80%. The people who do really well are those who really focus on the process.
Right.
And you write down your goals. You know what your goals are, but you're not so fixated on them.
Yeah.
You get so fixated and involved in the process that leads to that. You check in on your goal every now and then. But you get religious about the execution of your process.
Right.
And then ultimately, more times than not, you're going to be successful in meeting your goals.
Right. Absolutely. The journey. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Enjoy the journey.
You got to enjoy the journey. Embrace the suck, right? All these things you hear.
Yeah. My launch driven the group coaching program, there's things that ultimately it was successful. Right. And big thanks to Erica, All Things Madison.
Oh yeah.
Love working with her. She's so good. The thing about driven is, it happened to be successful, but along the way I'm like, oh my gosh, wow. I mean, there's some things in there I would consider failures, but I'm so thankful for them, because now when I launch it again, those things won't, a lot of those won't happen. I want to say all of it will go away. We'll see, but a lot of those won't happen. I've learned a lot through it.
Yeah.
And so, it's really realizing, and that's the joy part of it too. It's like, hey, yeah, it was close, but it ultimately it was good. And I want to say this too about confidence is I was reminding someone a few months ago about it, and I think around the same time, a few days later, Ed Milet came out and said it too. But it's like I was telling this person, a lot when I was super skinny and I wanted to get big. What I had to do is I had my vision of what I wanted to look like, but I wasn't there. I wasn't going to be there for a while, so I had to disconnect myself from the results. I had to focus on the journey and the process, and then I got wins out of just being consistent in the process. So if I showed up, like you were talking about your run, if I showed up, that was going to be a win. It showed up and did it, right? Sometimes even showing up, count that as a win too.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't do that, and they're like, well, I didn't get the result, so this is a big loss. It's like, no, give yourself credit for showing up and actually going through the steps. And then what can you learn from, you didn't get the result. Okay. So what did you learn from it? Because a lot of times you may not get the result.
Yeah.